Hey guys, there's been a lot of conversation in the CrossFit community lately about performance-enhancing drugs and steroids. Andrew Hiller has talked about it quite a bit, even having a link bait sort of title to his latest video saying all CrossFitters do steroids. I just want to come out for the record and say that I, as a 2 times CrossFit Games Champion, the first time I was at the Games, took 3rd place, didn't stand on the podium because another competitor above me was using performance-enhancing drugs and he got caught, and then I bumped up onto the podium. I have never used performance-enhancing drugs. I've never looked into taking testosterone. I have never taken anything illegal, anything prescribed, anything even offered over the counter with the thought that there might be some sort of advantage in taking this supplement to increase performance in any way at all. In fact, I have a whole video showing you the supplements that I take, like creatine, caffeine, whey protein as a supplement to help me get enough protein. Rice is another supplement in order to help me get enough carbohydrates, magnesium, vitamin D. That's it. That's all of the supplements that I take. It's basically just to be a healthy human being. But what I want to talk about today is sort of my journey, and I want to show you that you can be an elite athlete. You can be an elite masters athlete without any help, without any additional help, without cycling on or cycling off. Do I think there are guys in the masters categories that do cycle on and off? Yeah, I think so. And I don't have any evidence of that. I just see how some individuals perform in qualifiers. They perform in the open, or they perform in quarterfinals, or last year the age group qualifier, performing really well. And then when they show up in person at the CrossFit Games where they would be tested, their performance is not as stellar, not nearly as stellar as the qualifier. And the qualifier workouts are really, really tough. Now, I don't know what's going on there. It could be the difference between someone being in the safety and comfort of their own space, their own gym. Maybe they're submitting videos that don't meet standards. I don't know. Maybe they're taking performance-enhancing drugs because you're not tested during the quarterfinal process. Gosh, I wish there were quarterfinal drug tests, semifinal drug tests for the virtual events. I would happily pay whatever fees that would take in order to ensure that this is a fair playing field. There is literally nothing worse than wanting to get on that podium so bad as I did in 2018 and getting 4th place. And just thinking like, wow, I can't believe I got 4th place at the CrossFit Games. This is really amazing. And literally 6 months later, getting an email that says, you have been bumped up to 3rd place because Sean Ramirez tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Oh my gosh, holy crap. I got 3rd place at the CrossFit Games. That was great. I got a $3,000 check from CrossFit, actually a transfer from CrossFit, and I got a 3rd place medal. I did not get a 3rd place t-shirt, but I got a 3rd place medal in the mail via FedEx, literally as if someone took a medal, put it in a FedEx envelope, sealed the envelope, not even like a, hey, congrats letter, just a medal in a freaking envelope. I am a big believer in making sure that the playing field is level. And I love that this year at the CrossFit Games, not only did we do a urine test, which I've done a urine test in 2018, I did a random urine test in 2019, and then when I won in 2019, did another urine test, and then in 2021, they incorporated a urine test plus a blood sample. I'm all for it. Do whatever you gotta do. Take hairs, follicles, whatever. Call my ancestors. Just do whatever you gotta do to make sure it's a freaking level playing field. So if you don't know my background and my story, I have not been a lifelong athlete. I was a gymnast in junior high and early high school. So there is a part of my story that gives me a slight advantage from being a gymnast. So having some body awareness, some movement awareness. The fact that I could kick up to a handstand when I started CrossFit at age 38. Overweight, fluffy, absolutely no muscles, but I could kick up to a handstand. Like I had the equilibrium to do that. I could do a handstand push-up to 3 ab mats stacked on top of each other. Literally just like, that kind of a handstand push-up. I could do that. I could kip just a little bit. And so that was a slight advantage, but basically from 10th grade through age 38. So for 22 years, I just tried to figure out like how to stay fit. And I didn't really know how. I would go in and out of cycles of like, I sign up for a gym membership and I go and I'm really sore for like a month, but then I just kind of stop. And I would cycle in and out of jogging routines where I would, jog 3 or 4 days a week for a couple of months and I'd fall off that. Then I'd get back on it. Then I'd fall off it. Basically, I was trying to keep myself from getting fat. I just did not want to be morbidly obese. And I was on my way. I was thick. I drank too much alcohol. I was chewing tobacco, eating a lot of chips and having pizza for probably 2 dinners a week at least. And that was just kind of my life. That's what I liked. But when I started when I was 38, here's a picture right here. That's me, Red Stripe, Jamaica, literally a month or 2 before I started CrossFit. And I started CrossFit because a friend invited me. I didn't want to do CrossFit. I thought I knew about fitness. Anyway, I got into CrossFit and I really liked it. It reminded me of gymnastics workouts. If you hear the founder of CrossFit, Greg Glassman, talk about how he created CrossFit, he was a gymnast and he wanted to try to create the same stimulus that he would get in a gymnastics routine, in the gym. And that's what I experienced. And so when I heard that story, I related to it like hugely. I'm like, this is totally like gymnastics. And I haven't been able to work out like that since I was like 16, 15. I jumped in 6 days a week. I just jumped into class, a regular class 6 days a week, and I got really good really fast. I found something that I figured out. I understood it. And I started to move up my little leaderboard in my gym because my personality is very competitive. Like I was in that gym with other guys, like normal guys, middle-aged guys that were a little bit thicker than me. Some were more fit than me, but I just wanted to be the fittest guy in the gym. I don't know why. That's just how I'm driven. That's just how I'm built. And I've done that in everything that I've done. I've always wanted to be the best at whatever I'm doing. There's almost a pathology to that. So those that know me well know that can become obsessive. Anyway, I got really good in the gym. There was one time, actually, they brought a pee cup into the gym. One of the other members, just joking. He's like, Jason, pee in this cup. We want to know, like, how are you getting so good? And I didn't have an answer for it. So I actually put some like food coloring, like green food coloring in it, filled it up to the top and came into the gym next day and tossed it across the gym to him, kind of looking like it was the pee from like the Incredible Hulk or something like that. It was just for fun. But I just found something I was really good at. Then I started to find out that I could be competitive outside of the gym. I did a competition within the first year, just a local comp, and I got like 6th place. And I loved it. I was like, okay, I want to compete more. And then the CrossFit Open came around and I wanted to be competitive in the CrossFit Open. Then when I turned 40, just 2 years later, I had already opened my own gym and I was now a master's athlete. I was now in an age group of my own and I had a shot at the CrossFit Games. So at 40, I had been training like crazy, just training and training and training. Not eating well, but training like crazy. You can see in this picture that this is from the CrossFit Open when I was 40 or 41, somewhere in that range, but I am ripped, absolutely ripped. And you know how I got ripped? Not eating enough food, training like crazy, not eating enough food, in a huge caloric deficit. So I was ripped. I didn't qualify for the CrossFit Games that year. And I was really disappointed. I was like 80th, 90th in the world. And I didn't qualify. And I was upset. I just didn't understand how I was just training so hard. And I thought I could do it. I didn't understand this for another year. The following year, I did not qualify as well. Here's a picture of me the following year. Ripped, shredded, also not eating enough food. So the year 2018, the CrossFit Open, I was actually eating enough food for my life. I dialed that in and I qualified through the age group qualifier to the CrossFit Games and dialed in my nutrition even better. Here's a picture of me at the CrossFit Games in 2018. So I just finished a 500 meter swim. So I'm a little swole. It's a good picture because I look good because I just finished a swim of my life. I got 3rd place in a swim event. I was absolutely ecstatic. I look good, but I'm not shredded. I'm not, my body fat percentage is higher there than it was the year before because I was eating enough food for my training. And it was like this miraculous combination. And then in 2019, went back to the games and I won the games in 2019 by training well and eating enough food. Back in 2021, eating enough food. This picture from 2021, you can see that I'm actually even a little thicker than I was in 2018. Just the consistency of eating enough food and training well increased my performance and kept my performance at the highest level. All of that without any assistance, without any shortcuts. It's freaking hard work, but my journey looks like that. And so there are arguments out there that you can't make this body happen naturally at the age of 45. And I completely disagree. I'm the example. I'm right here. This is exactly what you can look like at 46 years old. That's how old I am right now. I just did the CrossFit Total during the quarterfinals and PR'd my back squat, PR'd my deadlift, PR'd my strict press, crushed the workouts, in my opinion, for me. I did great in the workouts for me. I'm the strongest and fittest I've ever been now, even more than I was last year. And all of that is just via hard work. There's no assistance. There's no shortcuts. So the question is, how am I I as good as I am without using anything for assistance when others have needed to use assistance to get the muscles that they needed, get the strength, the stamina, whatever performance enhancing drugs do. I've never looked into it because it's just not what I'm going to do. So for me, I think one of my advantages is that I was a gymnast. I think that's helpful. I think that helped my progression move quickly. I've always been good at the gymnastics movements in CrossFit. And over time, I've had to build endurance in those movements. Like I've not always been great at doing lots of handstand push-ups, but I've always been able to do handstand push-ups. So that's just been work and stamina building. Weaknesses are like Olympic lifting because I never did that. And it was totally unfamiliar to me. And in my first gym, like they didn't teach you how to Olympic lift. Like I had to watch YouTube to figure out how to do a power clean, how to do a snatch. A squat snatch was out of the question because I've never been taught how to do that. Now I'm barely understanding Olympic lifting. I have that advantage of gymnastics in my background. Maybe there's an advantage in my genetics. Maybe you get the body like this from hard work and genetics. I'm not sure. And I don't like that argument because I don't have athletic parents. Like I don't have an athletic genealogy, nothing like that. So there's just nothing there. In fact, my biggest fear was becoming significantly overweight. I always felt like that was possibly my destiny. That's just something that's more common in my family. And addiction is something that's super common in my family. So genetic advantage in sports was not something that I ever thought. And maybe there's part of it there. Maybe some of that's there. I don't know. Maybe there's a slight genetic advantage. I don't see it in my family, but maybe it's there. I do think that I have a solid amount of grit, a solid amount of discipline. I follow instructions. Whatever the program is that I'm following, I just do that. I follow that to a T. And I think that grit and that discipline is necessary to be a top performer. Absolutely. I'm also a very performance-driven human being, for better or worse. I definitely am the kind of person that when I set my sight on a specific goal, I get very narrow tunnel vision when I try to go after that goal. And I've talked about this in one of my other videos. What does it take to be a CrossFit Games Champion? It takes imbalance. It takes relentless focus on what you're doing. If I spent as much time and energy in other areas of life as I did with this goal in mind, there would be other areas of success that would be huge in my life because if I would just be really transferring all that energy to that. But this is this one thing that I continually go after. I just happen to be the best at the world in something and I want to nurture that. I like that. I want to nurture that. I want to maintain that if I can. So if you're an athlete and you're trying to figure out how do I perform at the absolute highest level? Jason, how do I perform like you? Or how do I perform like a Matt Frazier or a Rich Froning or any of these guys that are the top highest level athletes? How do I do that? Well, for me, it takes one, eating enough food. Not just eating the right food, but eating enough food. I thought I was eating the right food through 2017 and just barely into 2018 when I realized I wasn't eating enough food. As soon as I started eating enough food for my activity, my lifestyle, my training, my performance increased significantly. It was huge. And all of my nutrition clients share that with me when they're finally released to eat an appropriate amount of food in the right portions throughout a day, their performance increases significantly. They send me text messages that they are PRing this, they're PRing that, they're PRing that. It's a huge thing. So I think that's a big deal. And when you're eating this many calories, they don't all have to be absolutely amazing calories. I will tell you, a secret to becoming a CrossFit Games champion is to have some Cheetos quite often. So I like these organic, they're not the baked ones, but they're like the organic white cheese Cheetos. And every once in a while, I need more carbohydrates in my life. And I can do that with rice, I can do that with vegetables, I can do that with fruit. But sometimes I just have some extra Cheetos and they're fantastic and I love them. I absolutely love them. I have the liberty to do that because I need enough calories. You also have to just train smart. It's not about following like the programming that Matthew Frazier followed or what Rich Froning is doing. Like those guys are 10, 15 years younger than me. I follow a master's training program. I follow Mayhem Masters. There is a discount code below if you're interested in that. I follow Mayhem Masters and I do whatever it says. That is the appropriate amount of training for me. No more than that. Ideally, no less than that. It is just following a program. It doesn't matter as much what program you follow, just that you follow a program consistently. Trust the programmers and just follow a well-rounded program and learn from others. Here's an example for me. In 2018, I believe there was a workout that had toes to bar, dumbbell, hang clean and jerks, and rowing. And I just remember this is going to be the grippiest workout I've ever known. And I always wore grips for my workouts, for toes to bar kind of things. I wore grips, wore them around my fingers, and just hung onto the bar. And that year, I saw Noah Olson do a video showing that he flapped his grips over the bar. No holes, no fingers, just over the bar, and did toes to bar. And that revolutionized everyone's ability to hang on to the bar. Now, no one puts their fingers in the holes. They all flap over, which is appropriate and correct. That year, I learned that I could hang on for huge sets of toes to bar, chest to bar, bar muscle ups, ring muscle ups by just flapping my grips over the bar. And I learned that from like Noah Olson in a video. And I think there's a lot to be learned, shortcuts, tips, best practices from those that have gone before you. So here's a little plug. I do have a performance coaching Facebook group. If you want access, it's just a monthly fee. It's a really small monthly fee. A link is below, but that's where I share tips and tricks that I find help me increase my performance. They're just like little things. And if you eat well, and if you train correctly, a lot of people do that. So what are the other additional extra things, those little pro tips and tricks that make that couple of percentage points difference in the overall performance? That's what I share in that group. But I think you can learn from others to become an elite athlete, learning those pro tips, learning how they did it, learning how others that have experienced this before you have done. I think that's a really big thing. And then lastly, you have to figure out how to recover. So the number one recovery tool for me is sleep. Number one, like sleep is the highest one. And then like a therapy gun, like I've got a massage gun. That's great. Rolling out on a foam roller. I like to use a ball to really work into some joints from time to time. I mobilize before every single training session. That's all part of recovery. If I can get into a hot tub or a sauna, I try to do that regularly, although I don't have access to those very often. But recovery is a big piece as well. So I think that you can be a top performing athlete. Like me, you can win the CrossFit Games not once, but twice, and been on the podium 3 times without any assistance. Not all CrossFit Games athletes are on steroids or using testosterone or using anything like that. In fact, the last thing I'll say, I did do a blood panel when I turned 40, and my testosterone, there's like a range of like average testosterone. Mine is like low on the average. And I asked the nutritionist at the time, I was like, is that okay? Is that concerning? She's like, yeah, it's fine. Most CrossFitters that do high intensity work, you're gonna land low in that average range. Okay, so hard work, consistency, dedication. These are all the things it takes, not performance enhancing drugs, not additional helpers along the way, no over-the-counter anything. I have the same attitude as Matt Frazier when he said this on The Fittest on Earth. It was at 2019-2020 when it came out about Ricky Gerard. Matt Frazier said, hey, if you're using and you're on the playing field with me, get the F out of here. Get out of here. I don't tolerate it. I'm not cool with it. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to compete against you because it's just not cool. Those are my thoughts, guys. You can do it. You don't need that crap. If you enjoyed this content, please click the like and subscribe button. It helps support the channel. If you want to reach out to me or chat with me directly, go to my Instagram profile. You will find my phone number in my Instagram profile. Just shoot me a message via text or WhatsApp. I'm happy to chat anytime. All right, guys. See you next time.